Hi and welcome to my Playhouse, and today we're gonna be messing around with VMware. Not even here. I'm gonna go and remotely connect to a server that I am actually migrating from, well, I have some of those, from the old awesome IBM X3650 M1, the original model, the one that I call the tank. My mechanic has one of those, and I want to upgrade it because, well, he has one of these and he only has 12 gigabytes of RAM, and yeah, it's about time that he gets a new one. So he's gonna be getting a, oh, I don't even have one. Oh, down here, kind of see that he now has an M3 that he's gonna be running his systems on. And I am moving the virtual machines from the M1 and down to the M3. In the same go, we are upgrading from ESXi 5.5 to ESXi 6.7. And yeah, I ran into a little bit of a problem there because, well, this old server up here, it has 3.5-inch hard drives, and it's very easy just to pop in a big hard drive there, so no problem whatsoever. But I had only popped in 2 hard drives in the M3, and they were 146 gigabytes, and they were supposed to be running in a RAID 1 and would be enough to start with. Then it turned out one of them wasn't any good, and instead of that one we switched over to an SSD, a 250 gigabyte Samsung something. Don't have it. Yeah, plenty of space, I thought. But actually, and this is why we've been playing with ESXi, because I've had this task. So I've practiced on my equipment here, but I've done the work on his equipment. So I've moved the virtual machines from his old server up to his ESXi and then down to the new server. And when you do that, the thin provisioning in ESXi, well, it isn't very thin anymore. It thinks that it's thin, but it takes up all the space. So I ran out of space on those drives, which were pretty irritating. So today we're gonna be having a look at the VMware Converter. They changed the name on it, so now it's the vCenter Standalone Converter thingy, and that is at the computer. And we're gonna see if we can shrink those drives again. Let's go have a look at that. So we moved to the computer here, and I'm gonna be accessing his network remotely. So let's switch to that. Oh no, let's check this first. This is the Introduction to VMware vCenter Converter Standalone, and this is it's a kind of software package that you download from VMware. It doesn't cost anything. But you can only use it with ESXi and other VMware products. So, but you can use it with a standalone VMware host. So you can the free version. So this is a great tool for getting your whatever you want to do over to VMware. Funny enough, they're not as eager in going the other way, but they're very helpful if you want to move your stuff to VMware. So you go get this, and you just log in with an account at VMware, and you get to download this, and you can install it. But yeah, we'll see that. So here we are on my mechanics server, and let's just check the host. It's an IBM system X3650 M3 as said. It has 12 cores, 2 processors, and these are the X5650s. 2.67 gigahertz, and it has 64 gigabytes of RAM. So awesome. Let's just say that I've been using this server for folding at home. So right now the processor is kind of busy. You could kind of say that we have been burning this server in, making sure that it's good and stable, and it has been performing really well. So I will be shutting down this folding at home thingy. So my problem is, let's see this, that these virtual servers, the first one is a server 2019 that I have installed directly on the new server. That's the one we are on right now and looking at, and that is taking up 8.11 gigabytes, as you can see. Then we have another one, a management server. That's also mine. I think that's the one that we're gonna be messing with, because if I break that one, it doesn't matter. I can just do another one. No one is gonna. So we're gonna testing with that one, but it's taking up 47.75 gigabytes, and I don't think it takes up that much space. And the other ones are also, you can see 57, 34, and this old 2008 domain controller, which is also kind of a file server, is taking up 152. So if I have well, we can see the two drives I have in here, storage. Yeah, they're pretty full, right? The 146 gigabyte SAS drive, there is 17 gigabytes available on that, and the SSD, there is 30 gigabytes available on that. So yeah, and it's not great. I need some more space. We are gonna be putting in some bigger drives, but right now I want this up and running, so I want to shrink these, and that's why we are here. You can also see the Synology iSCSI drive down here. There's lots of space on that. So the reason why these servers are taking up this amount of space is because I did a simple copy. Shut down the server, I copied the data up to the iSCSI, and then I copied the data down to the new server, and I turned it on, and that worked perfectly, except the disk sizes. They weren't thin provisioning anymore. At that point, when you do that, it uses all the space you have given it. So that was an error on my part, and I forgot about this. It's been years since I've been messing with this. So to fix that, first let's shut this one down, my management server, and we can just operating system shut down. There, yes. We need that to be off. There, it turned off, and now we can mess with it. So let's minimize that. We have this VMware vCenter. I downloaded that and I installed it. It's no problem. It's the next finish. And when you open it up, looks like this. Here, we can convert machines. You can see convert machines, configure machines. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be converting a machine. And then it pops up with this, and this is this tool is really for taking a physical machine and converting it into a virtual machine. But it can also take a virtual machine and convert it into another virtual machine, and you can kind of change the disk layout while you're doing that. So that's we're gonna try and do that. And we have two options for that. If it's a physical machine, on a standalone physical machine, you need it to be powered on. So in that instance, it needs to be powered on, and you tell it how to get onto that machine, and then it will kind of do a disk image and make that over to a virtual machine. But as this is a virtual machine, it can kind of see the remote Windows machine, remote Linux machine, and this local machine. So it can take the machine that the program is installed on and make that into a virtual machine. We're not going to do that, so we're going to pick that it's powered off, and because of that we can pick the VMware host where this server is on. So I am going to log into that. There, next, and it sees the virtual machines that are on there, and we can see that this one is powered off. Can we see? So we get a little bit of information here about it. You can see its RAM and the size of the disk, and well, it actually gives us a bit of helpful information here. It says that there is 21 gigabytes on the C drive, and the drive is 39 gigabytes in total. That's gonna give me some trouble, because I was planning to move this server onto the drive that only has 17 gigabytes. So that might not be possible. So instead, we're gonna have to move it to the iSCSI storage, move it back again there, and then when I've converted this machine, I think I should have enough space to keep the other migrations local. Let's try that. Next, then we need to tell it which server it's going to, and we're gonna be punching in the same numbers again. I hope it it's okay with that. And this is also why I'm using that server or virtual machine. I don't want to mess anything up. And I might add that I have 2 copies of all of these virtual machines. They're still on the M1 server where they are just shut down. So if I were to totally destroy this host right now, I can power on those servers over there. It would take 5 minutes. Also, they are on the ESXi storage. Let's see if it will approve that. It will. Can give it a name there. Does it approve the same name, or do I have to rename it? Let's see. Yeah, it does not like that. I have to give it a new name. There. So what storage can we put it on? Oh, good. We can pick the Synology ESXi. There. So nothing thin provisioning here yet. Let's go next. I hope that will be the options where I can go and pick that. Data to copy. Let's edit that. And then pick thin so that I'll save some space. It's not as important going to the ESXi, but for video purposes, it will be nice to go and see that it's taking up less space on the ESXi, because I'm gonna have to copy it back from the ESXi in just a little bit. When it has moved to ESXi, I'll copy it back to host storage. I must admit that Synology ESXi thing that my mechanic has, which is an DS411J. It's the same model that I have replaced, and we are also in discussions of him getting a new one. This one is okay. Let's go with that. And the rest is probably okay. So let's finish, and it will start doing that. Submitted job. There we are. It's gonna take an hour and 3 minutes. We're not gonna be waiting for that. It's because this program, I'm sure it takes all the data out of VMware and it puts it back into VMware. So it's a virtual machine on the host that is converting everything. So yeah, we will let this run, and we'll be back in an hour or so. See what happened. Okay, it cheated me a little bit. It didn't take over an hour. You can see it started 10:17 and it finished 11:11, 56 minutes ish. Never mind. But let's see what it did. So we go over here to our standalone ESXi server. This is the web interface of it, by the way. What all of them kind of look like if you go directly onto the web interface of a ESXi server. And we can see we have the old one, the one that we just converted, and that took up 43 gigabytes. And the new one, it takes up 2.89 kilobytes. So quite an improvement. I am not expecting that to stay there. I think it was about 21 gigabytes that it was going to be taking up. So let's power this up and see if it runs, shall we? If it doesn't run, we got nowhere. So I'm powering it up. I see the screen resolution might need to be improved, but the server booted. Okay, that worked. So let's close that window and see if we can update and see how much space it takes up now. It says that it's taking up 4.11 gigabytes. That's not a lot. Are you sure about that? Server 2019 is taking up 8.11. That's not a lot of space. Let's go check the ESXi. This is the old server that we are migrating away from. So we need to go and check the ESXi. We'll do that on this one. ESXi, browse data store. How much this one's taking here? They look rather big. This one looks like the 4 gigabytes that it was showing us, but up here there's another 40 gigabytes, so that is weird. I will investigate. So this clearly didn't work the way I intended it to. Even though I said that it was to do thin provisioning, it has still, well, it has done a little bit. It's done like 2 gigabytes, almost 3. But it added 4 gigabytes here for some swap file. Might go away if we boot it. Didn't do as I intended it to, so I'm gonna try this again. See what I can do. I did it once again, and this time I took it directly from the old server, which has IP number 100 at the end, and I put it on number 200, which is the new server. It didn't make much of a difference. Let's see where we are at. We have it here. I copied it directly to the 250 gigabyte SSD. I deleted the other one first. I have multiple copies of it. So if we browse the data store, you can see that it's here. And we can kind of go down and see the different files. Doesn't take up 8 kilobytes. This one is 36.9 gigabytes. So that's the biggest file, that's the disk file. Then there is some smaller stuff that doesn't take up much, nothing. This one is 4 gigabytes. It's a temporary swap file. So when the server is on, this file is there. When you turn the server off, it's not there. So it's most likely the memory, caching and stuff. Then there's a log file, and there's not that important file. I did save a little bit of space. So like this file, which is 37 gigabytes, and this temporary file, which is 4 gigabytes. Well, it is smaller than it was before, so small win, but nowhere near where I thought that I would be landing. If we go and see the original one, we can see that it's that one. It also says here that it was taking up 40 gigabytes of the hard drive. It had 47 gigabytes provisioned, but it was taking up 40 gigabytes of those. So we have gone from just about 41 gigabytes to 37 gigabytes. Not that great, but yeah, we did get somewhere. I couldn't figure this out. I thought that I should get a lot more space out of it when I converted a virtual machine like that. So I tried again, and this time it actually worked. This time I took the domain controller. We can just see it. This is the job that ran, and it took 1.5 hours. Well, that's 1 hour and 20 minutes. That's actually not bad. Here it is. It's that one. It's a server 2008, and it had 152 gigabytes, and that was about what it was taking up over on the new server. But it only was taking up about 78 gigabytes in real life on the old server. And when I copied it over to the new server, well, it took up 152 gigabytes. So that was irritating. So I took it directly from here because it was already shut down. I went in and I did a disk cleanup, and I did a defracking on all the drives, and then I converted it once again. That was that job there. So let's minimize that and get over here, where we now have, this is the new server, and we are looking at the storage. And it's located on this 250 gigabyte SSD, where you can now see that there is 109 gigabytes free, even though the same 2 servers that was, well, they have been here all the time. This one I tried to put in there again, and this one we've just put in there. And if we go to that, we can kind of see the different sizes of the files. This one 8 kilobytes, not much. This one is the big one, 46 gigabytes. Nothing. And then we have there is like 6 hard drives on this virtual machine. So this one is 14.5, 7.5, 7.5, 2, half, and then there is there are 2. That's the swap file. I kind of I put those together, and they are actually taking up about 78.2 gigabytes, and then 2 gigabytes for the swap file. I didn't include that, so it does work. I was able to shrink the disk. I was so sure that I have had this working, but well, the first one I wasn't able to shrink, and I'm not sure why, but yeah, it's just teasing me. So, but now I have room on my drive here so that I can move the last of my mechanics virtual machines over here, which is his Navision server. It's a really old accounting software, Danish made piece of software from, I think it's 25-30 years old, and that is still here, and I am right now defracking the hard drive to do the same thing. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Awesome, I got that working. That meant that I had enough room to move the last server over, and I did the same thing. I cleaned up the disks and stuff, and that went down to about it took about 17 gigabytes of storage. From not having enough space, I now have space to spare, which is awesome. I might want to do some of the other machines, but well, right now I want to more make sure that everything works, and I haven't really told my mechanic yet that I've migrated all of his VMs from one server to the next. He thinks that we're going to be doing this in his vacation. He's taking the first week off in 35 years so that we can do this, and I've already done it. So awesome. I'm very much looking forward to giving him that surprise. So well, now he can just take the week off. Remember, if you're in need of awesome hardware, go over to Bargain Hardware at bargainhardware.co.uk, where you get 5% off of your hardware purchases if you put in the checkout code MyPlayhouse. Also check out my little store, which is also in the description below. And thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so you can see me again, and have a really awesome day. Bye bye.